encouraging, 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 positive, 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 understanding, understanding, understanding. It's Relationships Are Us. Your host, relationship guru, aka Big Goo, and D Love Jones are here to create a positive and encouraging environment with the science of happiness and understanding with tangible conversations with an emphasis on long-lasting relationships. It's Relationships Are Us. Be sure to like and subscribe to Relationships Are Us. Are Us. Are Us.
What's up, people? You know what this is. It's the relationship guru, aka Big Goo, in here with D Love Jones. Getting ready for this episode of Relationships Are Us. D Love Jones, what we on today?
Are we going live or we recording?
Now we recording, we not live.
We not going live?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, what up? Listen, we've been kind of quiet for the past couple of weeks, but I'm feeling good today. How y'all feeling?
Hey, I'm great.
Can we introduce our special guest today?
Yeah, we can introduce, this one been, it's funny that her last night long, cause this been a long time coming. It definitely been a long time coming, you know what I'm saying? And then I had to go to the store, and guess what? Then I had to come back down Lee Road. So so I had to come back down Lee Road, man. So look, I was like, man, this one of my people. You know, I gotta introduce it like a rapper. This one of my partners. They're my nigga. I don't know what I'm saying. So I like to introduce the world to this podcast, you know what I'm saying, the extraordinaire Miss Kamilah Lee Long.
Hey
Welcome.
y'all, how y'all doing?
Welcome. Let me give you the speaker, the curator, the producer, and development professional, director of leadership and gifts. She's in the arts community. She is telling powerful stories. And today she about to act up with us on Relationships Are Us. That's why we brought you. I'm not sure if you knew.
Okay, well, you know, I'm here to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Hey!
Hey, that is. So we were starting to have a discussion a little bit, and I know D Love Jones got a couple things that she wanted us to go down, but just to get this thing started and just go ahead, because I'm dealing with two dominant women right here. So the first thing that I would like to know, just to get it rolling, what's y'all fears of? What are y'all fears of dating and fears of love? Like what do you fear the most?
You know, for me, that scene in what's that movie with all Waiting to Exhale, right?
Right.
And the girl, the pretty girl with the little peach dress on, and she end up with the little chubby man. You know what I mean? And she gives a chubby man a shot, and then he turned into the asshole on her.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Yeah. That's my worst nightmare. Like to really, I feel like I can queen a man, a king a man, and they don't queen you back, So you don't want to give yourself away. And then, these men, you empower them so much just by your presence and being with them, or them saying they have been with you, and they get all empowered, right? And then try to treat you like you nothing afterwards. So my fear is to empower the wrong man.
Wow.
That's, first of all, that's heavy. Yeah. I felt that on so many levels. That's a real issue. I'll say, my fear, I feel like I've already lived one of my worst fears, so I feel pretty prepared for what's next. But I would say that one of my fears is making the same mistake again. because I feel like we are all supposed to learn from our experiences and the decisions that we made in the past. So I would say one of my biggest fears is like being like, God damn it, I knew better than this. And so
that's called a regret. You know what I mean? Because you go from a mistake, and then after the mistake, it's called a regret. Then you start,
Absolutely.
And I can't stand a regret. And Magic, what's yours?
Oh man, my biggest fear is being with a person, loving them, and turn out, like they were like the neighborhood slut or something like that. Everybody them bust them down. You know what I mean? Like so that's a really that's one of my like biggest fears. That's why I always try to choose wholesome women.
So it don't matter if she's
true to you.
It don't matter if she's true to you. It don't matter if she's still dedicated, that she gonna love you like from the top of your head to the sole of your feet. Your concern is whether or not she been ran through.
Yeah, but all of that, she need to be true to me. She need to be dedicated and all of that, and and with low mileage.
But let me ask you something. How do you? Oh, I'm sorry, D.
No, you got it, Lee. You got it.
Okay. How do you calculate low mileage? I mean, a high mileage after you already been with somebody? When did it become a factor? Like, you know what I mean? Did you say to learn after the fact or to know before the fact?
Well, you tend, since I'm on here with, women that I respect, and I hopefully I can say this with ease, but like I would consider both of you guys to be low mileage women. Now, I don't know, but, I would consider that, because I know I don't think, like, I think that you can hold the title of a wife with good, it'll be in good hands, like I feel a man can go places with you and ain't got to worry about walking a mile, but oh, damn, I used to knock her down, like, and everywhere you go, it's like, man, you remember we ran the train on her and such, because it's this chick I went to high school with. And to this day, her name is still the same. They call this girl, her name is Blowhead. And so even when we see her at the Mardi Gras, like, what's up, Blowhead? She with her kids and everything. So that's one of my biggest fears, man.
Okay, I ain't nobody judging your fear, though. I would tell you that. Ain't nobody judge your fear on that, because that's real in your mind. Like, okay, you don't want to be with her. You don't want to walk down the aisle and everybody like,
right.
Or whatever that is. You want to feel proud. You want to feel like you have something. But that's a whole nother episode to talk about. To me, we need to like that. Y'all need to have a parking lot on the show. Like when
right.
Like that, then come back, and then you need to have the takeout show be like, let's go through the parking lot. Right. So we're gonna park that with Magic.
Right.
Let's park that one.
Okay.
Wait, but let me just say one thing. This is the only thing I need to say is that make sure that whatever you worried about, you make sure you don't qualify for the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, make sure she just as proud to have you standing by her side.
Yeah, well,
tread free. Don't be ran through. And then want somebody.
I'm just, see, don't make me sad, D, because I'm just like, because if we think about if I was to think about the mileage on your package, you know what I mean? Could your miles and her miles, like, you know what I mean? Who get to be in the Sky High Club? And is you want her to check your miles? Like, how can she measure yours as well? So and then don't she want the same thing? That she want to go somewhere and not feel like everybody in the room and being with her man? So that's why I say let's put it on the parking lot, because it brings so many questions that I really want to break that thing apart with you. So maybe we can actually chisel a piece, chisel a form out of, because we'll never get to the bottom of that conversation, but how you can get the sculpture, and it's
right.
They start with the block of wood, but we can start chipping off.
I'm just gonna let you know now. I'm not scared now. Like, I'm gonna tell you like Bernie Mac, I'm not scared of you motherfuckers now. It ain't been you know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm gonna stand on it. I'm gonna tell you, like, I
know. That's why I love it. I know you.
I'm gonna stand on because I told Des, D Love John, like, this was gonna be lit today. Cause I told you ain't the one that let me slide by with nothing.
Yeah, I'm like, I hear you on
She
that one. This
already
one
giving
ain't
you a
that show,
pass.
but it need to be a show. I'm ready. I'm ready for that conversation right there. And D ready too. D more than ready.
Uh-huh. So fear. So now, so what's the healthy way to go about when you do have fears? Well, so what's the healthy thing? Cause cause I say, cause I'm in the thing. You know what? You don't need to work on nobody else. You just need to work on you. You know what I mean? Like, so I wake up every day and try to figure out a way I can be better with the person that I'm with. I work on me. I don't worry about it. Be like, oh well, she should have do this and she do that and such and such. I just work about on with the things that I can do that can make things better between the person. You know what I mean? So what healthy things you do to overcome your fears? Because because the fear that I have, it was very, I made it clear from day one, like, hey, look, it's imperative that you're not a thought. Like I made that clear. So
Well, I hope you wasn't picking her up in a place where it was thoughtlicious and it's happening. You know what I mean? Because you can go somewhere where thoughtlessness happens and then asking them not to be a thought. Like, where are you at not to make sure you ain't picking up a thought? At the end of a thought, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day. So I think that's street. You can't have her looking like one, and that's the thing you're attracted to, but you want her to be everything but what she looked like and what you actually like them looking like. Because a thought don't come dressed like that and with the booty out and the thing, and all of that. I mean, the one that you might be looking for, but that might be the thing that catches your eye. So what kind of message are you sending out with the person you praying they ain't a thought, even though they look like a thought?
Okay, well, listen, hold on a second. I gotta see, cause listen, you know what? Because most men want a church woman with thought qualities.
First of all, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, so, one that ain't gonna hold back in the bedroom, one, you know what I mean, but know how to carry them, you know how to conform, you know how to be a business person in the business light, you know how to be a church person in the church light, you know how to be, a freaking bed, like, so yeah, so, so I say most men want a decent woman with some thought qualities.
I think most men want a woman they can wipe like toilet tissue on their butt and throw them away. I think that's what they be going. I think they just want to throw them away. Half the women they want to be with nothing attachment. They want to get them and then throw them away and tell them bye-bye. So I don't agree that all of them want somebody that's gonna stay. I think that's why prostitution is so high of a business that will go on, because they get to go do what they do. We get throw them away. Now they get to buy them a purse, buy them some titties, buy them some ass, buy them some things, and then they don't have to like have any commitment to them, and they just keep running through folks and just giving them things. And so I don't know. And D, there you go.
Listen, I'm not mad at you for being real, because first of all, Big Goo, what you said sounds good, but for the women who are out there who are literally prayed up, staying faithful, all of these things, you meet a regular dude and they not with none of that. They don't want you to come to the table with morals. They don't want you to come to the table with values. That's not until they are 48 years old and they ready to get married. But up until the end, they need you to be completely freaked out. And I'm grossly over exaggerating here, but for the most part, like when you say that, half the dudes out there, like if we do a poll right now, when they meet a woman, if a woman tells them like, look, I'm celibate, I'm out here, I'm willing to date you and hang out and do all of these things, but it ain't going down unless I know that this is a real situation. They moving on to the next. So when you say that, I feel like it's an exaggeration. Go ahead, Lee.
And they're just trying to date you long enough to see if they're gonna continue doing what they're doing, or try to date you long enough to see if they're gonna break you, if you even come with those morals and values. It's just like, oh, with that understanding, you understand that I gotta get mine, right? You understand that I'm going to be doing this until you
ready.
Unless they really like you, and then maybe they'll start coming in your direction. But if they actually allow the time to come and get to know you in that way. But this day and age, it's like, why would I spend time getting to know you because I want to be with you when I can be with all these other people until they find a reason within themselves that is you. So I'm of the mindset then to go ahead then move on. If that's where I'm at, then you go ahead and no, you don't get to be kissing on me and then licking somebody else at night, and then coming to try to just kiss me because me and you just on a kissing level. You don't get to go do that and be up in my mouth, so you don't get to have me. That's it.
And so if a man is not willing to wait in the physical aspect, but he willing to wait in every other aspect, emotional aspect, spiritual aspect, but he just ain't willing to wait in the physical aspect, he's devaluing you.
But reverse that and ask yourself that same question. I want you to reverse that and say that to yourself. If a woman is willing to wait on all of these other levels, but not physical, are you okay with her going out and smashing whoever she want to smash because you choose not to move forward in that capacity?
See, but this is where we got to get the talk. Got to really hit the rubber. Got to hit the road at, because we can't compare apples to oranges. Like, men are not women.
That's not apples to oranges. It's apples to apples. It's human. You both are human people,
right? But we're different kind. But we're men. Like, there are some understandable double standards, whether we like them or not.
Understandable for who, though?
Yeah, but I mean,
because if you think about double standards, double standards were more acceptable in a place where women required way more of men than what we get now. It ain't no double standards no more. You got women coming to the table, you want half on the rent. You know what I'm saying? You want half on the mortgage. You depending on her job, you depending on her to do all of these other things. It ain't no double standards are no longer acceptable.
Okay, well, so it's some things so you willing to do everything that if you were in a relationship, so you willing to do everything the man do in that relationship.
First of all, every man don't do the same thing in a relationship.
I'm saying though, so it's things. So I'm saying, so I'm pretty sure you got some old school values about yourself, D. Jones. So so it's some things that you see as woman's work, and it's some things you see as men's work. It's some things you see as a man responsibility. It's some things you see as a woman responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Because I know us being a Southern people, we got to have, or we have been introduced to it, or we believe it. Either way, we know about it. So I'm not gonna believe that D. Love Jones doesn't have a secret pocket over there where she feels like, I'm not doing certain things because I'm a woman.
So let me tell you, I don't have the luxury of doing that when I'm single, right? So while I'm single, I'm doing everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing whatever I thought was a man's job, whatever is a woman's job, whatever. I'm doing the whole shebang, right? So I can't go into a relationship and meet a man. Like, first of all, men be wanting you to cook a Southern neck bones, baked macaroni and cheese, greens. They want you to be able to cook the whole spread, but they can't change a carburetor. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, so it's like at some point you got to look at the person that you're with and determine what you need from them. Because you're not going to be able to have this standard of like, I need a man that can do this, and he got to do, because some men aren't capable. Some men was raised by their mothers. They don't have no more skill set than you do. So it's like, do you count them out?
Right. Now, those the men that are making it hard for solid men. Because these women coming with all this emotional baggage. And I feel sorry for the women that have to deal with these men that come with this emotional baggage, these soft tendencies that they come with. I literally seen a girl jacking up her car, changing her tire, and the dude passing her the tube. I literally seen that. Because, and when we pulled over, me and my homeboy, when we pulled over, it said, what's going on? The dude told her, he said, I told her to call AAA. That was the AAA for. Dude, you're not going to just change the tire and get this woman off the side of the road? So you gonna have an attitude because she ain't do what you say. She didn't call AAA. She'd rather change the tie herself. Now I say, now in my mind, if I were her, when I got through putting the tie on, I'm finna leave you standing right here. Now in my mind, so yeah, so I'm with y'all on that. But there is on, but you know, but changing ties. If you in a relationship and you with a man, you know, you feel like if y'all get a flat tire, you don't feel like you're supposed to get out and change the tire. Am I wrong or right?
If I'm with a man,
if you with a man.
To be honest, because I'm one of those mothers who raised one of those sons who don't effing know how to. I know how to change the tire when I have to because I can read directions, okay? And if I'm stranded alone, but if my son was with me, I would be instructing him, hey, read them directions and figure it out. You know what I mean? If we can't, or we'll figure it out together, because you know what I mean? Like he don't have the father figure in his life that would taught him those things, you know? So if I met a man because of that and the empathy that I do have who didn't know, then, but I wouldn't be down there doing it. I'll be like, hey, it looked like it say you put it underneath here. Right. You know what I mean? Like you put it there, now grab the tie and if you pull that, and then you'll see me assisting if it was something, you know, but I'm not finna be like so complacent, like, let me get it. And I'll do it that way. But I do have empathy on what, and then to me, our ideas of what's masculine and what's feminine. I tend to like a sensitive man because one of my other fears is, and I guess that goes along with it, is that the person will be a jerk. You know, because I love highly intelligent men, but the on the flip side of that is they're cocky and sometimes they can be an asshole and a jerk at the same time. And so that's what I don't like. You know, imagine I don't like to feel like I'm being dismissed and someone is being like heartless. I don't want a heartless man. And one of my other things is I want to be treated warmly. When I say warmly, I mean not just like just in the bedroom. I mean, like after I had my long day work, because I do work and put in time, you know, I like to be just held for a little while, you know, and that's the kind of man I want. Someone who can just hold me. If they see I'm sad, they'll ask me what's wrong. I do need him to take out the trash now, because that's my thing. Like, you taking out the trash, like, okay, that's a double standard. And I'll do the dishes if you hate the dishes, right? Okay, but if you love the dishes and you hate the trash, then I might be like, well, you do the dishes, I'll do the trash then, you know, if I ain't got to do the dishes. So I think it's a bargain between both, because the roles they have shifted. We don't need the same things that we need. I'm so glad I was brought up in this time period to where that man didn't give me everything, like, because you are at his mercy when you can't provide for yourself and everything is coming on him. You are at his mercy. So I'm just grateful that I'm brought up in a time that I'm not at the mercy of a man's character. I'm at the mercy of my own character and I get to choose the type of character I want to meld with, because it's a sad day when you have that much power. So I think men have had a lot of power over women, and they didn't always wield it carefully. And we have evolved into who we are. Just like now, the elephants are starting the female elephants now are having babies with no tusks, and they don't grow them no more because of the poachers have been poaching for so long. Now elephants are starting not to grow tusks anymore. So it's certain things that we just won't be developing in our muscle and brain that'll be passed on anymore. So some of that old thinking won't even be a thought for the new generation of women and men. So what is masculinity when a whole generation grew up with the man going off to work with the lunchbox and the mom at home? And that's a whole 3 generations of them seeing the mother going off and working all day and coming home. Like, that's changing everything.
And I do want to say, Big Goo, because I'm gonna give you a little bit of credit, because I understand what you're saying. Like, yes, in an ideal world, the person that I'm with will be able to do everything that my father could do, because I have a father that I'm close with. So I got to see, like, there was nothing nothing that happened in our home that he wasn't able to address, and he didn't facilitate. It was rare that you even saw a service person come into our home, you know. And I mean, ideally, yes, that would be great, because I didn't necessarily build that muscle and that skill set to be able to say that wouldn't be a relief for me as a woman. However, I just don't feel like we necessarily have the same luxury to expect that as we did in the past. It's a nice to have, but everybody is different.
Right. It is, and I don't think that a lot of mothers have been honest with their daughters when it comes to a lot of things. Like your mom and your dad, they had a good relationship or whatever it may be, and your dad was the provider. He was the head of his house, from what it sounds like, because if it was a problem, he was going to figure out how to solve it. So he was the head of his house, what I'm saying? He covered over his house like a man's supposed to do. So now, within that, mama can't do everything daddy do. Daddy can do everything mama do, but definitely mama can do everything daddy do. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where the term comes from. I pay the cost to be the boss. All that comes from. See, these are understandable double standards, and not that. And I think it's an insecurity that most women grow up with now, that they can't play their part, that they can't play their role the way that they should play it, regardless of what it is, what role you guys play, they can't play it because they got these insecurities of what they sister gonna say. What sis gonna say? Sis gonna be like, girl, you a fool. You know what I'm saying? Girl, if she cook every day, if she play her role the way the way she made, that's comfortable for her to play her role. Every woman don't want to be super bad in her house. Every woman don't want to make all the decisions. Every woman don't, so some women want to feel like that they can depend on their guy, they husband, they boy. Some women want that, but you got sis over here saying, girl, you better not want that. Girl, you know what I'm saying? You'll be a fool to even trust a man like that. You know what I'm saying? You need to get up and go to work. You know what I'm saying? Don't depend on him for nothing. But this is what will make her happy. And you telling her to go away from her happiness because of your fears and your insecurities. Every man is not gonna dog every woman out. Every woman is not gonna cheat on every man. So just because things have happened to you doesn't mean that that's law for everyone else. That's your experience. So now I think that a lot of people are messed up because people put their fears, especially when it comes to relationship, on other people.
But the thing about it is, like, if that's your dream, sister, go pursue it. You know what I mean? But sometimes, like, to me, the sister be like, girl, do it. Because, I've definitely been when I had my son, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I thought that's what I wanted to be until that's what I was. I was like, oh, I ain't meant for this shit to sit down all day and wait on somebody to come home and be like, taking a child for a stroll and then play solitaire and watch TV. Like, I was like, ooh, this is not, I'm not built like this. I thought that was my dream, my own self. So I found that out for my own self. Like, oh, I better go back to school and finish my degree so I can do my passion and what I love, which I actually have a passion in life. So for some people, just like in Raising in the Sun, to play, that's all Ruth wanted was to do, is to have a house and to be a mom. And that's all right. It's some folks who that is their dream and they should live it to the fullest.
Yeah, and so have many other people telling them that's their dream, that they stupid for that. They stupid for wanting to be.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think they're stupid for that. But if that same girlfriend know that Negro, similar to the play fences, go out to the bar, give you your little money, give you what you're supposed to have, make sure you have your house, and you go out and impregnate another woman and live in a whole relationship just because he's doing what he's supposed to do, and that don't work neither. So on either side, so that it works both ways. But as the girlfriend being the one determining that, women gonna do what they want to do, how they want to do it, and be. Ain't no girlfriend never stopped no woman from being. We don't have that much power. We as I tell my friends, I'm just there to pick up the pieces, baby. Go do what you need to do. Your friend will be here to pick up the pieces should they ever fall.
Nah, I kindly disagree because I done seen sis. They use this sis term. This sis, when I get scared when I hear the word sis. I hear sis saying sis to sis. When they get to saying sis, it scares me now because I know that's an influence.
But you're a good man. It ought not to scare nothing.
Hey, it scares me. I mean, it scares me for them, but not for me. It ain't gonna affect what I got going on. But I'm like, man, because it's like sis is just hypnotizing to them. They feel like they can count on them and believe and trust what they tell them and the advice that they give them, all because they said sis.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Listen, if you're not a strong-willed and a strong-minded person, then maybe so. I have literally just a plethora of strong, amazing women that I can call at any time and tell them my issues and whatever, whatever. But I always take advice with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? Because you're in it, you're living in it. And so I don't think that most women are so feeble-minded that they just take what one woman says who has a dominant personality and just applies it across their life. You know what I'm saying? I've had friends who decided to become a stay-at-home mom and it did not go well. And I was like, listen, this is great. Let's see how it works out. When he started basically treating her like, hey, I run this because I'm paying all the bills and everything you doing ain't really about nothing. I was there then. And I just think that there's maybe some women that take advice as like golden and just act on it. But I feel like most women are living that and they may be guided to a certain extent, but most of them are living it. So they can't just take what one person says and just uproot their whole situation.
Right.
And it is risk. There is risk associated with that. If you were to, let's say me, got my degree, all this, and I meet somebody and they say, baby, I don't want you to work no more. I want you to do this. And then, I do that. And then my resume is blank for 5 years and your ass cheat on me. And then I find myself out there in the world having to strive, or it doesn't work out because I listen to you. And then when whatever you mad about or I'm mad about, you're not ready to provide for me or even offer. And I haven't even had 10 years into this thing. That is a risk that I will have to take, to be vulnerable in that way, that my career would stop. And I got to explain why I ain't had a job in 5 years, trying to get back in the market. Should I do? So it is a risk associated with it. It's not the same anymore. It's like, oh, I got to now go to McDonald's or start off. Like I might have left making 120 or 150 or whatever. And then now I got to go back down to 60K and it can't pay for no lifestyle that I've earned. That's a big risk to take with someone telling you. So you have to be like, think about that for yourself. And
women think, but women speak on this so strong. Women speak on this so strong, and I'm glad you're speaking on it with the passion that you're speaking on it. You and Dave.
No, you spoke on it.
Nah, I'm glad, but you're saying, but the risk for the trust factor is what we're really talking about now. Mm-hmm. So the trust factor, so I'm gonna tell you, like men take a lot of risk too, because it's really hard for a man to trust a beautiful woman. A very attractive woman, men do not automatically trust beautiful women. Because there's so much parked at your door. It's so many opportunities parked at your door. It's so many advances parked at your door. It's so many things parked at your door. So, being very attractive, that's why most men, when they really get ready to settle down, they choose somebody they kind of attracted to, but kind of mediocre, because, they don't want to deal with what comes with all this beauty, like having this beautiful chick, like, you know what I mean? Yes, she's going to be, she's going to be enticed and she's going to be tempted by way more than what the average man can stand. She's going to be tempted all the time.
Yeah, that's so insecure though. And then to me, it ain't no winning. Halle Berry and Beyonce done got cheated on. Come on. Like, it just deals with the character of the man, you know what I mean? And saying that, I don't know. I just don't buy it.
Yeah, but this is the truth.
Like, that's a thing, but
this is the truth. It's men. I'm telling you, men.
See, the ugly ones will get you too.
They will.
At the end, you can be as good
they
as
will.
You want
They
will.
They will get you. They will. They will. And to be in a situation with a woman that thinks she's attractive and don't have the moral compass that she may have presented to you, so when you invested, your time and your money and building this woman, and building this life together, and she goes out and she cheats. So the thing is, like, men take just as much of a risk,
Yeah, I'm not saying I think it's both. It's risk involved on both ends, but right here you're talking about morality and not lifestyle. And like, because he was working, let's say in this scenario, he was working, building his brand, doing his thing and recovering. If he's working and he's got money, he can get another woman.
No, let me stop.
A woman who ain't been working Yeah, she can find a man, but we ain't the same. Like you say, we ain't built. I ain't saying all women, we ain't built like that. And it ain't that easy to build your life with somebody. So if you was the consistent factor working, you stand to have that in a patriarchal society. You stand to have the benefit. That's the difference. The power is not neutral. The man has the power in this world. It is set up for him to succeed. He has male privilege.
Right.
Sexism works for him. So we are not, and then earning capability of women, we earn way less than men. So we will not be able to be on equal footing when it comes economically. And if the risk is more associated with her economically, she stands to have the biggest risk in that area. And he stands to recover faster.
No,
unless he was in love.
I disagree. I totally disagree.
Economically, you cannot not.
Your Honor Jones,
look, I'm sorry, Big Goo. Big Goo. Did you hear all of those big words that she was saying?
Right,
like,
Your Honor.
That means she's right. Period.
Hey, Your Honor. Hey, Your Honor Jones. I'm gonna start calling you Your Honor. You're gonna have to be the judge in this case, cause I'm talking about. Listen, because I'm finna plead my case, cause because first of all, the power of woman sees. First of all, you ain't finna snatch away the power of women. Women are so powerful. Women, you know what I'm saying?
We ain't talking about that.
No, you're gonna let me plead my case,
young lady. Magic. I'm talking about a system of oppression, and we finna talk about a system that's set up, not a woman in our essence, in our glory.
Now we finna talk about a system, right? So what I'm saying. Okay. So in that system you're talking about, this how much power a woman got in that system. You send a man to work in that system. You know what I'm saying? So, and when you decide you're gonna break them down,
his dad is sending.
Now, when you decide you're gonna break them down, you decide you're gonna cheat on them, such, and you crush his whole world. See, men are more men can't take what women can take. We are way more like when we break up, we done. So we done. Women can pull themselves back together. So when you break, when you break that man, he can't go to work right. He end up losing his job. That's why men commit. They kill themselves more than women. Because a woman leave a man, that man like to kill himself. He can't go to work. He'll never be the same. He's broken. Like, you know what I mean? And it's usually gonna take multiple women. That's why men get this thing as dog. It's usually gonna take multiple women to bring this man back together, to help this man come together. A woman can pull herself back together by herself. But it's gonna take multiple women. Look at that old
Superwoman. We just a race of Wonder Women.
Yeah,
a race of Wonder Women.
Yeah, y'all.
Right. But I would real quick though, Big Goo. So
impervious to pain.
I hate this. I hate this narrative that women are so resilient and strong and blah 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 blah. They just move forward broken. They just continue, and they're still just as broken as a man. And you don't even know, half the time when people break up and get divorces, the man is always the one to get remarried first.
He can't move. That's why you're making my point.
Yeah, but you said, he's so broke up. He needs so many women to put him back together.
It do, like Humpty Dumpty.
Dumpty fell off the wall. No, that man be like,
hey, man, gonna take all the king knights and all the king men.
No, baby. A black woman can be broken and cry on the street and 50 people walk past her. Nobody cares about our tears.
Okay. What?
Nobody cares about our tears. No. That's just like even one of the arts leaders. I'll give an example, or arts organization led by a white man. He can fundraise. We need the money to do this. He can drop tears, and everybody feel like, oh, the man is crying. If that black woman get that job and drop one tear to fundraise, and oh my God, she's breaking apart. We can't trust her. She has no strength. She can't even use a tear to move anybody, to raise a dang on dime or do anything. She doesn't even have that. She can't even use that to do the same thing that a person can, being a male, and not even being a male, but being a white male. Then you would think, oh, men not supposed to cry. No, they can cry and use it to their advantage. We can cry and it can be looked at as the biggest weakness we could ever have. So the same thing, but because we're supposed to be strong, that same there. Oh, y'all can pick yourselves up together. We're not supposed to be emotional in certain settings, and it works against us in so many ways. So the very thing you're applauding us for isn't a dream, because that's one of the very things that also works against us. Let us cry to tell a man to stay with us and see if he stays. That'll never be the thing that gets him to stay. Not our tears.
Can I interject real quick? I'm sorry, Big Goo. I don't want to cut you off. Okay, I want to interject real quick. Lee, can we set the stage just for the next kind of line of our discussion? Are you single?
Yes, I am. I'm unmarried.
Unmarried. Okay. So there was one thing. No, because it's really important.
Important. Boy, that was funny. That was comedy. Listen,
she is unmarried. Therefore, she is single. Okay. It's same for you and same for me. Everybody on this call, if they are not married, they are single. You might not be available, but you're still technically single. You check the single box. Anyways, so what I was going to say, Lee, is that like when we were talking earlier, you said something that I found to be really powerful. And then I also talking to Big Goo earlier. So I'll start off by talking first about Big Goo, because he was saying basically, like, how do we know if we are meeting our match per se? And so back in the day, our elders used to say, like, find someone who you're equally yoked with, right? Mm-hmm. And that's something I don't think you can't meet no Black person that don't know or ain't never heard one of the elders ask them or talk to them about being equally yoked.
I just met one. I swear to God, I just met one. When I mentioned it to them, they didn't know, and they Black, and it's somebody who I was dating. Ain't that funny? But anyway,
y'all still dating? Mm-hmm. Y'all still dating? Okay. So
pleading the fifth.
Right. So we talked a little bit about being equally yoked, because so some people look at it from a financial perspective, right? Some people look at it like, if you ain't on the same level as me, then we're not equally yoked. Some people look at it from a religious perspective. If we don't have the same beliefs and morals and so forth and so on, then we're not equally yoked. And then, now, while people aren't really saying it, I still think it applies, how you can think about compatibility in kind of the level of you and your potential spouse. And so I wanted to ask you, what were your thoughts on the concept of being equally yoked? And do you feel like those kind of that age-old principle still applies today?
I think equally yoked to me is mindset. In another way, I think it's just a way to say, like, and mindset, or even some places, like you said, it's spirit set, it's goal set. So whatever that is that you can share with each other, and also just finding some common ground, so what is that thing that you have as your through line that y'all can move on together, that y'all really strongly agree on? What is the spine of the relationship? What is that thing that y'all both like click, and that's what makes it what it is? I feel like, so to me, that's what they're saying. And in this day and age, back in the day, the parents would decide, or some cultures today still in India, the parents decide and match you, right? They say, like, this parent, we've decided this is your match, because they know they have an ancient old way of sifting through what the thing is that threads them, that makes them a good match. And that's still in their culture to this day. It don't all apply. In Africa, it used to be that same thing. The family would say, hey, and they would put y'all together because they were thinking about the entire community. A marriage was not a selfish, I love you and you make me feel like this kind of thing. It was about the community, the village, the whole economy is set to benefit off of this union. So it's not about you. So over here, we done let white folks in TV dictate what marriage is to us and what that's supposed to be. We don't even have a clue what it means to really be united and what it means for the larger whole, other than men dick getting hard and he know how to lick it, at the end of the day. And he can pay the bill, and good, he rich, and he popular, and he got the gold chain on, and it's so much just out of the way. And out of a shot at Big Goo or what? I don't know how to take that. What now?
I don't know if that was a shot at. I don't know if that
I'm not. What do you mean?
First of all, he's a distraction.
Okay. Yeah, he is distracting me from my point. I'm about to drive it home. But I'm just saying, so now when you, so to me, as you ask me that question, I'm sifting in the past, the present, where we are, how to get back ourselves, and what does it mean. And I have to say, I really don't have the answer. I say all of that to say I'm trying to find what that means for me in this day, knowing all of what I know. Right. Sometimes I feel like I know too much, and then I don't know enough to actually understand what this institution and means for us to come together, or this relationship. And what is the thing that we meet on, other than me knowing, which is selfish, I believe, in a sense, what I want. But if I want in my wants that our union is so beautiful that everybody who's around us benefits, that's one of them. Now, will a man ever be talking about, oh, our union and everyone benefits? I don't know if I find a man that's going to think about it the way that I think about it, but I have to sift through enough that we get along with, because he's never going to think like me. So I don't know.
That's we're going to put that in the parking lot too.
I think too deeply about it.
Yeah. No, it's interesting though. I love everything you said. I love it all. But I get mad. Big Goo is like,
yeah, we're gonna put that in the parking lot
face.
too.
Look at Big Goo face. Wait, let's just talk about that. Okay, but I want to listen to D before I start watching his face for
no, because the one thing I wanted to say, which what you said, which was really interesting, and it's about a mindset, right? So I'll share a personal story. So one of my elders, I won't say how we're related, but one of my elders, like, literally everybody knew that her husband was like in these streets, you know what I'm saying? For the lack of a better term. And this is growing up in my adolescence and seeing, one of the few married couples that we were related to. And that's what I saw, was that her husband was a philanderer or whatever. And he was in these streets. And I remember one time we went to do something, and this was like a rare time where I got to have one-on-one time with her. And she said, the one thing that people need to understand when they get married is what their spouse thinks marriage is. Because some people look at marriage as like, I'm a man. As a husband, I need to provide for my family. I need to teach my kids. And I need to make sure that, all these other things are met. She's like, but some of them don't think that includes commitment. They don't think that includes affection and love for them.
Whoa, she done eased out somehow.
I think her phone may have died if she didn't have it plugged up.
Okay. Yeah, that's another thing in relationships. You got to stay plugged up. You got to stay plugged up to the source. You got to stay plugged up to the source. You know what I'm saying? You got, man, but for real, it's a lot of people that's in relationship, they don't have a power source that they plug up to. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what I'm saying. But where is it coming from, Magic? Is it the community? Of course it's God, I think, but then is it the community?
It could be.
Like, what are you plugged into more than yourself?
Right. So, it was like, I was going to get back to it, Kai. Kai, you said, Kai, you looked at the act of marriage now, and especially in our culture, as selfish. And that was very, very intriguing to me, because when you say it's a selfish act now, because it didn't used to be that. Kai, you said, back over in Africa, whatever you were saying, that they married for the benefit of everyone. And that's strong, because will you meet a person, but I don't know if you'll meet a person that's like that, especially because I don't know, I might be the last one standing, the guru that I only bond for the benefit of everyone. I only so that's what I do. There she go. So I only bond for the benefit of everyone. And when I was in a situation and I noticed the situation that I was in, it was destroying everything and everyone around me. So that's when I knew how much power a relationship has, when I started, uh, uh, friends, when I started having friends to disappear, when I started having friends that would choose sides, and you know, this is it was crazy. Like I said, oh, this relationship affected too many people, and it's not affecting them in a good way. So moving forward, in my next one, I was like, you know what? I want to make sure I'm in a relationship that benefits other people. So, I don't think that you probably, I ain't gonna say, I was just joking saying you won't find nobody, but I don't think they may not be able to articulate it in the way that you articulate it. But I think, most people that's got a moral compass want to benefit people around them in a good way.
Yeah, no, I like what you said, because it can, like, you've been through an experience where it's been like you can see the power of it tearing people down. And it's literally unions that happen that tear families apart. I mean, I'm directing the play Romeo and Juliet right now. Just even the love tear, these two families are already torn apart. The love couldn't even join them apart, but maybe the deaths did bring them back. We don't even know the end of the story, but it's very important what you do. Even if you're with an abusive person and they marry somebody and then isolated, and then you falling out with your siblings because the person abusing you and they trying to protect you, and everybody's all involved in the drama. So when we talk about equally yoked, it's easier to talk from the standpoint of what it feels like when it's not the case versus, really understanding what that means. D, so yeah, we were just talking about Magic picked up the conversation on the fact of like the community benefiting from, from a union and people not thinking about it that way.
Yeah. Right. And I mean, and I love that you shared that, because I know we oftentimes talk from the perspective as a woman, right? I mean, all the time, right? We're talking from our perspectives, and we don't realize like that some men, certain men, and probably a smaller percentage of men actually understand the bigger picture. And so what you shared as far as like looking at it from the perspective of how many people could we impact by this relationship is powerful, because like there's people in my family who've been married for years, and we look at them like when we talk about marriage, we be like, well, they've been married for such and such. That it matters for us because we don't see it as often.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, but
and so the success or the failure of a marriage does have the ability to impact more than just the people in that relationship and their children.
I think the success of a relationship in all aspects, whether it's friendship, it affects so many things. So especially when it comes to something that's supposed to be so sacred and guarded as a marriage. That's a sensitive, your marriage is very sensitive. It's like playing Operation. You remember the game Operation?
I played it 4 days ago.
Hey, so so that's the mindset you have to be in. Like a lot of times, if you want to handle a person with care, if you want to handle your relationship with care, you have to pretend like you're playing that game Operation. When you're going in to have a conversation, when you respond to something, you got to pretend like you're playing Operation. You ain't got that much room before that end, So if you can stay in that mindset of understanding, hey, when I have this conversation, I'm just trying to get in there and get the funny bone out without touching the sides. Like, you know what I mean?
And guess what? And we know you probably gonna touch the side. And see, thank you for bringing that up, because I have to hold myself accountability, because I've been single, for a long time in my life, more than I have been in relationships. And although I'm in my 40s, I have to admit I'm immature in relationships, because I made a choice to be a single mother for my son. And I knew every man that came along was gonna get all my smoke, because he was so precious to me that anything you did could and will, and you touch that one, you come in for that funny bone and you touch the side, your chance over. Turn, go to somebody else. Or guess what? Turn, go to nobody else. Matter of fact, let me take this thing off and unplug the battery so I can perform this surgery myself with all the concentration and all my energy. Nobody else gets to be in this game but me and him. You know what I mean? Now it's like, oh, I'm in a place where like, oh, and this was like, Oh, I might as well have been like, I'm gonna get you sucker and come out of prison with the doggone goldfish. I'm walking down the street. Yeah, I'm ready to date. I ain't got a tool in sight. To just set me up for success to get back into this game. But because I know I want to get back into the game, the last 2 years, I've spent a lot of time on myself. Had a therapy I had for, a year. Then I've been working with a visualization coach for over a year, just visualizing my life. Because what I learned too is no shade to anybody in my family, but I've learned that the tools do not exist in the folks whom taught me enough to get what I've gotten and survive, and gave me those tools. But the nuance of relationship and vision in my life in the way that I want to go, they're not within my circle like that. I have to seek professional help from people who do that, to support me, in that way, so that I can be a better person. But anyway, to your analogy, what I have to learn is that going in for the Charlie horse, if you know about the game operation, Charlie horse is one of the hardest ones to get out. And because, the value of the Charlie horse, is not even that high in the game if you look at it, but getting the skill that it takes to get the Charlie horse out of that game, you got to be real skilled to do it. And how are people going to get skilled if they don't have an opportunity to make mistakes? You can make mistakes and still be great. And I think if I can trust your heart, and I know your heart, when we talk about being equally yoked, heart to heart, if our hearts are there, if I know your heart, then I can forgive you, because I know you're not trying to do anything to harm me. You've proven to me that you really care about me and you really want me to be successful. But you got your stuff and I got mine. If I can trust that part, then you can, and I'm like, that's, you know what I mean? I ain't die, but I know you trying to get to the best thing for us. Then I'll have a little bit more grace.
So, Lee, we only have like 4 minutes left. I wanted to just ask you, just because you shared that from a personal perspective. So if you're looking back, you're in your 40s now. If you're looking back at your 20-year-old self, or the age that you were when you had your son, when you became single, parenting your son, what would you tell yourself?
I think I would tell myself that because I have such a high standard of excellence in so many things, I still wouldn't say take no wooden nickels, and I can still reflect back on people who I have come in contact with, maybe that were wonderful. It's like one dude in particular, I think he was wonderful in my life, who I really didn't give a chance to. I was very defensive and untrusting. I would just say to myself, like, ease up off. It's okay. Someone is going to make a mistake other than you. You have to allow other people to make mistakes too. So that would be, you can make mistakes and still be great at the end of the day. And so can they too.
Do you feel like therapy was the path that helped you to realize that you need, like being able to speak that to your younger self? Do you feel like it's something that people just should be able to figure out? Therapy time,
experience, and also, yes. And I think I would say more than it just therapy, like my, that was a part of it, but like, other coaching that I've received, that's like knowing it's important to know all the ways in which I'm winning. I was in such a place of lack at the time. And I think that's what men don't understand sometimes, because and Big Goo, we talked about this before, like I had an issue with men looking at my body and wanting to just possess my body and not wanting to fool me. I could see right through. I know too much. I feel like I'm dang near psychic. So I feel like residue from the future resides in me. That's my gift. I make decisions. I get paid for making decisions and for my foresight and intuition. That's my biggest gift to the world. At the end of the day, if you ask me something, I can really go there and like go. So imagine me bringing that into a relationship. That's why my son couldn't get away with that. So I'm not one of them people you can get away with some stuff with. You better come with the truth. And once I know that the truth is not there, because the way I'm built and I'm made, you're never going to get that trust from me. Once I have got your number, you cannot fool me. Then that's the problem. Is then because you cannot fool me, you don't get to grow.
Hey,
because I will see you where you are.
You know
So
who
that
else
was
had that gift?
from allowing you to grow because I could see you, right? More than I could see myself. And then once I make that assessment, you're a deficit for me. You're not profit, you're loss. And so I feel like learning how to use that in a way that I couldn't just go straight for the negative. And
give
believe me,
grace.
I would know that about you and never give you the chance by not communicating that with you. I will only know it in here. So I wouldn't have an adult conversation. Say, when you do that, that made me feel this way. And it makes me think that in the future, this will happen and this. So, and have a conversation with someone. When you say you have feelings for me, what does that mean for you? Because now I'm plugging in that to me, having feelings for me, that's weak. Like it really don't mean that strong for me. So now I have to ask, what does that mean to you when you say that to me? So I learned how to interact and have questions versus like jumping into what I think someone thought and going into the future and doing a mathematical equation and seeing failure. So anyway, that's just how I'm built.
So
but at least I
basically
know
you're saying,
myself now.
but you're basically saying you could have given grace to certain people who deserve
To
it.
myself first.
Uh-huh.
I had to get it to myself first and know. And then I could give it to other people. But I wasn't given the tools to be able to understand it. And that's just a whole another long story and how I was growing up in the South and being domesticated into, Southern shade. People be nice to you. They really not being nice to you at all. They say, hey, have another piece. And you know better than to take another piece. So I learned, you learn not to trust what people offer you, what they ask you and what they really mean. So all of this distrust and mistrust that was also in my life too. So I had to suss through all of that too. So I wouldn't have been good for anyone to me at that young age because of all of the things that I had. I could have been with somebody and been divorced by now. Maybe twice. I would have been divorced twice.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, I think you should watch some episodes of Andy Griffith. And if kind of Barney Fife had the same intuition that you have, like that was his gift to the world. So he can see all this stuff before it happened. And thank God for Andy. You know what I'm saying? Thank God for Andy.
Oh, don't you do me. Don't you do me. Don't you do me on him. Hey. Don't you come. Don't you come for me. I didn't send for you now.
Hey, so and that's my role. I'm like the Andy.
Don't you do it.
I'm like Andy Griffin in that, you know what I mean? But Barney Fife had the same intuition, you know what I'm saying? He can see all these things and he can add them all up together and he equal, that's what Barney Fife used to do. And so we definitely got a term for it and we call it fifing. We call it fifing. And so
I'm a fifer. Right. I was a fifer.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt your thought.
Go ahead.
No, Jamila, it's been such a pleasure having you on. It's an hour has gone by so fast, but I really think we should definitely have you back because there were some things that I wanted to talk about as far as like Black people in the arts and Black love and the storytelling around it. There's more kind of like your sweet spot as far as like what you do professionally. So maybe there's an opportunity to explore that in a future podcast. Okay. But you have been a jewel. Thank you for being transparent and just being open and giving it to us real. Because I know both me and Big Goo tend to hold back at times just for the sake of like not going head to head combat. And
y'all didn't tell me if it wasn't no cussing on here, if it wasn't no using no words or anything. As I was in the middle of something,
we independent.
I was
doing a little editing.
We independent and Black owned. We just make sure that the whole overall goal for us is just to make sure that when somebody do watch, they do get something to walk away with. We're not, how the message is delivered, how does it come? We don't get to control that. We don't try to control that. We just try to just be a source to where a message can come through here. And if it comes through, in which I believe it did today on multiple levels, I think we did our job.
Absolutely. So
y'all union is making the world better. Let me say that. Y'all union
thank you.
on here, y'all work union is making the world better. It's good for the community. It's good for the world. So I definitely can support that.
Thank you. We really appreciate that. So if people want to find you and inbox you and ask you for advice or whatever it may be, where would you like us to direct them?
Oh, they can find me on Kamilah _speaks on Instagram, and then just Kamilah, that's KAMILAH _speaks SPEAKS on Instagram, and just Kamilah Long on Facebook. But yeah, if you do, I mean, I don't know what I can tell you, but whatever. But whatever if you don't be trying to ask for my number to talk to me. Like that. But if you got some questions that really are pertinent to seeking therapy or advice, or a way to get to yourself every day, the precious time I was telling you about earlier, and I know it's time to go.
I know we didn't get to touch that
practice that I have. I will come back on there and talk about the precious time practice and what that means and how it's been so beneficial to me in my life. So yeah, it's been a journey, man.
Close us out. Close us out.
So hold on. That's
okay.
Right. So that's what I'm going to do. Hold on. Hold on. Thanks everybody, and see you next week.